If you're a man in the public eye, it's usually not a good sign when your wife goes viral. I suppose there could be a positive reason. Maybe your wife was caught on camera rescuing a puppy from a burning building or something. But usually it's not for a good reason. And it certainly wasn't this past weekend when Kelly Stafford, wife of NFL star quarterback Matthew Stafford, found herself going viral. Kelly, for whatever reason, was being interviewed on a podcast where she, for whatever reason, decided to share an intimate detail about the couple's past. So here she is talking about the early days of their relationship and how she managed to convince Matthew to finally commit to her. Watch.
Our love story, I love that you think it's so great. It started out horrible.
Tell me.
Well, met him, spent like the evening with him, did not let him touch me the first time ever. He was like, this is fun. I was like, oh, we're in a relationship. This is great. You know, like this, because that's all I knew.
Yeah.
I didn't know casual dating.
Wait, so was he trying to casually date and you were all in?
Oh, yeah, girl. And I didn't know what that was. So all of a sudden, we're kind of doing this thing. And then he's like, oh, I see him at a bar one night. And I'm like, what the Anyways, long story short, it wasn't that cute of a relationship at first. I hated him. I loved him. I dated the backup to piss him off, which worked.
Oh, yes.
He was like,
that'll do it.
He was the bad boy, too. Like, Matthew's so sweet and Southern gentleman and all that stuff. And the backup was the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Ooh, and it upset him, which it worked, thankfully.
Yes.
But yeah, at first it was
Was that like the pivotal moment in the relationship where he was like, actually, you can't be with him. You need to be with me?
100%. So they lived in the same dorm because athletes lived in the same dorm, and he would see my car there. And so at one point, he like waited and followed me out and got in my car and wouldn't get out.
Stop.
And he was like,
this is so hot.
I was like, this is amazing. It's working.
Yeah.
I was get out of my car, and he was like, he's not right for you. And I was like, what? You can't tell me that. It's like, get the out of my car.
Yeah.
So in summary, they were dating at this point, but he was not as committed as she wanted. So she got involved with his backup in order to make him jealous. And as mentioned before, that clip has gotten a lot of attention. It's been viewed millions of times. Most of the attention is very, very negative. Kelly does have some defenders, though, who point out that she wasn't married to Matthew Stafford at the time. And technically, she never said that she slept with the backup, only that she dated him, which is true technically. The thousands of people on social media claiming that Kelly Stafford admitted to sleeping with Matthew Stafford's backup are assuming that based on the fact that she dated the guy and was spending time in his dorm room. Some assumptions are outlandish. Some assumptions are pretty safe. This one would seem to be more on the latter end of that spectrum. But anyway, it's better that the public doesn't know the specifics. It's better that the public doesn't know anything about any of this. But they do now, thanks to Mrs. Stafford. And now social media is full of people making jokes about Matthew Stafford's wife hooking up with his backup. And to make matters worse for Mr. Stafford, some of the jokes are even, frankly, pretty funny. So why is the clip getting such a large and largely very negative reaction out of people? Now, we could guess that Kelly Stafford didn't anticipate that level of attention, or that she would be so roundly criticized for sharing those details. So why is that happening? Well, I think there are two reasons. First of all, I know that in Kelly's mind, this is just a silly story from ancient history, something she feels she can laugh about now, given that she's married to the man. They have 4 kids. But even so, this is a story about manipulation, and manipulation is bad. Nobody likes to be manipulated. Men in particular don't like being manipulated by women. Okay, when a woman manipulates a man, she makes him feel emasculated and betrayed and disrespected. The 3 worst things a man can feel in a relationship, all at once. Now, a football player likes playing the game of football, but he doesn't like playing games in his personal life. No man does. This is the thing that infuriates a man maybe more than anything else. Manipulation tactics, playing games, being dishonest, disingenuous, not shooting it straight, not just saying what you mean and meaning what you say. Men hate that, as well they should. But here's the more important point. Yes, her behavior was immoral and gross, but yes, it was also a long time ago. She's been married to him now for many years. Again, they have a bunch of kids. That's why I would say the whole thing's a non-issue. It's not worth discussing, and none of our business to discuss. If the story had been revealed by a very bored journalist who went digging into Kelly Stafford's dating history for some reason. Okay, if someone else came from the outside and said, hey, let me tell you what happened with these 2, then we would all probably say, well, why are you talking about that? What does that have to do with anything? But it wasn't revealed that way. No, instead, Kelly herself offered up this information. She decided to let the world in on this embarrassing piece of their personal history. Why? Why does the world need to know that? Why do you want the world to know that you dated your husband's backup in order to make him jealous? Like, it's shameful for you. It's totally humiliating for your husband. And now social media is full of random strangers making emasculating jokes about your husband. Why put him in that position? Why put your marriage in that position? Now, this is something that many people these days seem to struggle with. If you're married, you should want the public to view your spouse in the best possible light, right? To put it in very modern terms, think of yourself as your spouse's brand manager. Actually, don't think of yourself that way. Forget I said that. That's a terrible way of looking at marriage. Better instead, just think of your spouse as the person. Well, how about this? Think of him as the person you pledge your undying love, fealty, and devotion to until death do you part. So which means that you are still worried about your spouse's reputation. That's one of the things that you should be concerned about. So it's a very simple rule of thumb. If you're about to say anything to or about your spouse in public, just ask yourself one question. Is this likely to increase or decrease the amount of respect that people have for them? And if the answer is decrease, then simply do not say it. Period. Just never say anything that you know is likely to decrease the amount of respect that other people have for your spouse. If the answer is, I don't know how people will react to it, then again, don't say it. If the answer is, it will increase the respect people have for my spouse, then yes, go ahead and say it. You should be looking for those kinds of things to say. If you ever find in yourself the desire to embarrass the person you're married to, or if you find that you don't care that much whether they are embarrassed, then your marriage is deeply sick. It is malfunctioning at the most basic level. Now, I don't know if Kelly understood just how much her little anecdote would embarrass her husband, but she had to know that it wouldn't make him look good. It would not increase the amount of respect people have for him. He will not be happier with people knowing that information. Like, she had to know that he's not going to watch that podcast, or probably didn't even see the podcast. He's going to see that people talk about social media. There's no way that he would find out that she shared that story and say, oh, well, thank God. I'm glad she told people about that. She had to know he wouldn't react that way. And she said it anyway, which means that she's operating the same way that far too many people operate in their marriages these days. And that is why she is today, sadly, canceled. Hey, YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to my full show with no ads, you should go to dailywire.com and use promo code Walsh to get 2 months free on all annual plans. See you there.